Okay, you might not have watched a couple of other videos I made where I talk about just using being able to extract data from Yahoo.Finance, and when I discuss um, getting data uh, uh, without uh, using Python. So if I go here and I go from home to databases, if you go up to this one, which is acquiring data with Python and VBA for databases, I need to change that. Okay. So I already did all this stuff, and you can watch the other videos where I went through using VBA. And, I used to be able to do it all with VBA. And here's what happened. And then in the first video, I describe how to get stock prices and get a whole bunch of different stock prices, commodity prices, GDP data, all of that, and either inflate them or deflate them. And you can watch that video. I think it's worth it. Maybe I tried to talk about the theory of IRRs a little, and you can put the IRRs and the volatilities and why. Really, the theme is why you'd want the data in Excel. Okay, so that's that. And this is actually a copy of the old one. And in the old days, I used to be able to kind of put these URLs together, use some kind of thing in VBA to just get the data. And here's what happened. Let's look at this BYD. Okay, if you go to finance.yahoo.com, first of all, it looks like they haven't ever issued a dividend or done a stock split because the adjusted close is the same as the close. This adjusted close is so important because, of course, if you have a company that's paying a whole ton of dividends, their stock price is not going to grow as fast as another company. They're giving back the stuff to the shareholders. And all these people blabber about dividend stocks and all that crap. I'm not going to get into any of that. But if I want to compute the IRR, which I think is such a key thing, or the growth rate, and how much investors have made in different stocks, and what investors have made compared to the economic growth, and what's going on with all of this, if I want to do that, this adjusted close is such a cool thing to get. So I'm going to just 1 second. I think. Okay, I had a knock on the door. Where was I? Can I just, oh, I forgot to tell you this. When you would go and download this file, you notice there's a lock here. And in the old days, you could hit download and get a spreadsheet. Better than that, when you hit download, uh, uh, you could get the URL. You could kind of right click and get the URL. I don't have to talk about that. That's obsolete. And it was a really sad day. I was in a shitty mood for a long time when I suddenly couldn't get this data. And I had made this fancy, nice little sheet. Well, this sheet, I'd made all this stuff, and I suddenly couldn't get this data. So I looked for an API code, like I did in an earlier video, and tried to get it straight into VBA. That was impossible. And I started reading stuff, and they said, "Oh, you can do this in Python." Ooh. And I said, the last thing I want to goddamn do is learn another language, because here I put a little description. I started with Fortran. We had these little cards that if you dropped your cards, oh, that sucked. And then I started to learn C, and then it went to C++ when Windows came along, and then I started programming in VBA. It's all the same. That's my point. You have to read stuff in, you have to do something, and then reading, writing, and do something is like arithmetic. That's what I do. Reading, writing, and arithmetic. And that's what any of these programming languages do, including Python. So why in the hell do I want to learn Python? And every time you use a language, I thought maybe Python's better. Maybe somehow it fixed if you make a spelling mistake or didn't put the code in exactly how you're supposed to do. It's all the same. It always sucks, and you always, for me, it takes a little bit long. Okay, so here's I don't know what I did here, but this is kind of where we're going to get. If I take these, this is what I want to do. I want to take these ticker symbols, and I've got a break sheet. And after the break sheet, I want to put in this kind of stuff for the, well, I only care about the closing price. I want to put the closing price and the date. And I want to get it either daily or monthly, or you can get it minute by minute. So finance.yahoo is really pretty good. If you go to these other websites like Google or something, Google Finance or something like that, they don't do this adjusted price, which is by far the most interesting one, okay? So that's what we want to do. So what we have to do is make a program that reads this and goes to Python and gets the data, puts it in sheets. And then after we put it in the sheets, then we go back and sort the sheets out or do something with those sheets, okay? And now, okay, now what I'm going to do is I have watched these other videos. And when I watch these videos, it's really irritating because I go and try them and it never works. And people, I guess they're Python experts, and they do it really fast, and they act like, oh, this is how it works. You can just get those stock prices, all that. The first thing we have to do is install Python. You just go to install. Now, after you go to install, maybe I'll get rid of this, okay? Here's what they all tell you to do. They tell you to go here and press the run command, R-U-N. Now, this was kind of good news for me. If I press CD up here, oh, this is old-fashioned DOS. That's what DOS. So that's I miss it. Okay, you can make a directory called temp. Okay, and then whoops, access denied. Why did I? Who knows? I guess I can't make a directory like this. I can put dir. Why? Maybe it doesn't allow me in this. What if I put cd back to dir? Can I make a directory? Whoops, let me push this up. Whoops, I can put cls, and I can copy from one directory to another directory. Oh, this is good old-fashioned DOS. md temp, let's see, does that work? Yes. And then I do a dir, and it has temp, and I put cd temp. Oh, it gets me back to the old days where I could kind of understand what's going on. Now, of course, you just make a folder, but cd, let's delete this, del, tmp. Okay, are you sure? Sure I am. And then what if I put where, or where is, and let's put Python. So the first step to do is something like that. Where is, oh, is it just where? What is it? No. Oh, there it is. It's in Windows app, okay? And how about I put where is, how about I'll put visual. There's something called star.star, okay? I'm not sure. Oh, they couldn't. Okay, whatever. I'm sorry. Oops. And if I press the up key, there, it tells me all the places where I can find all that stuff. And I'm looking for this thing called Visual Studio, which I didn't find. So what? Okay, that's that. And if you type Python, and this is what they do. A lot of these things do this. And then you're in the Python, okay? And you can type print let's say bonjour, monsieur. I can't spell monsieur correctly, so I'll leave it there. Bonjour, madame. Okay, and that's a Python program. Okay, and when you run it, it gives you the result. Oh, it's so easy. Bullshit, it's not that easy. Okay, you can make do loops, you can do all this stuff, but that's just, and then I think we put exit and then we're out. And a lot of people write their programs like this. Oh, screw that. Because instead of writing your programs like this, now I didn't finish explaining what I'm doing. I'm going to tell you about all the mistakes I made instead of acting like this. That is worthless, kind of doing your programming like that. I guess I was able to install Python okay, because all you do is go to whatever, Windows or whatever, and just type install Python and you get it, and it's free. Everything is free here, by the way, of course. But then somebody said, get Visual Studio. And then you have to install Visual Studio. And I installed Visual Studio somewhere here. So I'm going to dir star dot. Let's see what our here. No, I didn't put it here. I put the sandbox. I'm going to use that again. CD users. Okay. dir star dot. Oh, it's so great using CD user. Now, I don't know how it got here. Okay. And then here we are. And where in the heck is it? Blah, blah, blah. Python code. Now, this Visual Studio is it's like the VBA editor. And what you can do is you install this Visual Studio, but you got to remember exactly the place you installed it, which I thought it didn't make any difference where I installed it. And what you do then is then it gives you this. So let's go file, new file. Okay, oops, text file, Python file. Let's make, what that means is it's like a VBA or it's like a program for Python. And if I put print and I put this one, hola, okay. All right, hola, signora. Hola, signora. Okay, and then when I can run it from here, I always put run. I guess I didn't know I had to put it. And this is like a intro or something. Okay, I guess I have to save the file and I have to use the Python debugger. This drove me nuts at first. And then when I run it, it does this. Now, at first, I didn't put the double quotes in right. I couldn't even get this stupid program right. I couldn't do that. But here's the big deal about getting this one right. I put intro.py. Now, if I go back to, this will be important later. Let's go back all the way. And here, if I put Python, and then I want to put the name of that was intro, I think, it wasn't it? And then I put .py. I can't find it. Oh, shit. And nobody told me this. Nobody goddamn told me this. So I could put, I'm just going up, way up here, CD users. Where did I do that? CD user. Where can I find this? I'm just going up. I guess I can't. CD user, USERS. Is that right? CD user. And then dir star dot. Oh, it feels so good to do this kind of old stuff. And I'm doing it too quickly. And I'm sorry about that. I'm really, really sorry. But other people don't even show you. And notice it's CD, change directory, not folder, directory. That's why I still use the term directory all the time. Python code. So you have to find this. dir, okay? And then in here, I've got intro.py, 22 bytes or something. And then I put Python, and I put intro.py. And then, when I did this, it probably took me a day. It probably took me a whole day to get this. Now, this is why this is so important. We're going to make a VBA program in Excel. And when we make this VBA program in Excel, we have to go to this Python code. Now, I'm sorry I put it in this place. I'm going to put it in some other place. I think you probably want to put all your Python programs in some easy place to find, not the CD user, blah, 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 blah. You want to put it into some place that's easy to find. But notice that this, you have to run Python. I put it in the Visual Studio place. Now, how about this? Let's copy, let's see if I can do this. Intro.py to C:\sandbox. Somebody else used sandbox up. And do I have to put another thing in here? Could not find the files specified. Did I call it intro.py? Where is that? Just a minute. IN star. I used to do this all the time. Dot star. Intro.py. So I wanted to copy intro, INTRO. I see. INTRO to sandbox. Okay. It copied. CD backslash. Let's go to that. dir star dot. I'm doing it again and again. Maybe you'll get a handle on it. Oh, this is old DOS. Oh, I love it. Okay, I hated Windows at first. Now, of course, everybody uses. I'm not criticizing Windows, okay? Because, of course, Microsoft copied Apple, and Apple got all pissed off in that movie and all that, the Steve Jobs. So right now I have intro there. So let's run Python. And I'm just trying this for the first time. Intro.py from this place. And it worked. So you have to you have to be able to run your Python files from this one. In fact, what I'm going to do, this is what I meant to do before. Where is the, CD users. Whoops. CD user, I guess. Why? No, CD backslash. Whoops. Did that work? I didn't know that worked. CD users, CD user, because I bought this computer after my other one. I just bought a new computer and it's totally, it was so sad. Whatever. You don't give a shit about that. dir. And we put CD, blah, 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 Python code. So I'm going to copy all of my stuff to copy star.py to, I'm teaching you DOS. Oh, what a waste of time. To C:\sandbox. So what I'm going to do, I think I can just do it like this, and it copied all of this stuff. Now, these are the real ones, these files. Yes, I'll override it. Okay, and then it's got a whole bunch of stuff I messed around with trying to get Python to work. Now, let's go back. Okay, and all right, I've got to go get my hair cut in a minute because I got to go on a plane to India. I hope I have time to finish this video. So I made all of these mistakes in getting this visual code up here. That's where I print hello, and I've shown you that. and I couldn't get it to work. It took me so long. I don't even know what mistakes I made here. Okay, so you just got to go and download Visual Studio and put it to somewhere that you're going to remember it. Now, after that, here's the big deal. Here's the big deal about Python. They call these things libraries, and C has libraries too, C++, I think. Libraries are an interesting name. I imagine going to a library and checking out a library book. And then that library book has a whole bunch of data. Maybe it's like the old days where you had an encyclopedia or something, or dictionary or something like that. Okay, you can go to the library, get different kind of books, and when you get different kind of books, then you can get information from those books, and you can get different kind of information. Okay, and the way you get these libraries is you use this thing called imports, but you have to define the libraries, the books, and then it's weird, and I had totally forgotten this. I don't know why I did this. Where's the next thing? I'm sorry. Here's what you do is you put pip install. God knows what this all means. Somebody else can tell me what it all means, but you got to get this libraries. Now, the big libraries to get are one of these things called pandas. I don't know why it's named pandas. It's supposed to be cute, probably like, Python is Monty Python. What other great ones of Monty Python? I love the Monty Python and the French Knights, where the French knights said, "I'm going to fart in your general direction." Oh my gosh, my 5-year-old starts to say that in class at school, and I shouldn't have shown him that one, but it's just so wonderful. Okay, I don't know what pandas mean. Then you're going to eventually get this Y finance. That's the magic one. Now, I don't know why if I even had to get these ones. You can get all these different libraries, but when you get this library, you got to use this pip. You put pip install, and then you put the word pandas, or you put Y finance or Excel writer, and God knows where it puts it. But you have to do it. If you don't do it in the location where you have to do it in the location where you put that Visual Studio, or it didn't work. And then I started going to ChatGPT or DeepSeek and trying, why is this not working? It didn't help. Okay, maybe it's just too obvious. I don't know. Maybe you don't always have to do it there. Maybe you can do it, but I had to change the directory to where the Visual Studio is. And then, this Visual Studio, this is kind of like, VBA, but VBA is kind of, they say it's backwards. Oh, Visual Studio is so much better. And then you run it and you see the results over here. This is where I was getting some stock prices or something like that, and the closing data from the stock prices. Okay, so that's what you got to do. And then, so those are all the mistakes I made there. And then in the first part of the program, what we want to do is define a file. And I put in this sandbox file. Where is my sandbox file? Okay, I'll do it here. I'll do it in Windows. And why can't I get it here? And what am I doing? Okay. Come on. Let me go here. Okay, I got to go to the C drive. I don't know. They always put it in the C drive. I have no idea. I have to admit this. You probably can put it in your OneDrive, but I haven't tried that. You could, if you got an external D drive, of course, you can put it in that or something like that. Okay, and then in here, I have a file called Sandbox, and that's where I put all of oops, I named it shit because I was really pissed off. Okay, I better delete that. Okay, that's really bad. Okay, and this is where I was trying to get everything to work, and what was I saying? Okay, and so I put I'm gonna read the tickers and then write the tickers. And there something called shell or something? And oh, look, it's got more files because I put all the Python files in there too. Okay, but this is where you get that file downloaded, I guess. Okay, here's what I was trying to say. Here's what I was trying to say. Let's get back to the point. Okay, you've got to say where you're putting this in, and there's all kind of wacko stuff. Now, I put all the stuff that I had complaints about here. I'll just explain. So I said, okay, this is where we're reading this from, stock and economic analysis. And that's in this folder or directory called sandbox, and you have to put 2 slashes, or you can put a backslash somehow. I don't know. You put 2 slashes instead of 1. That took me a couple hours to get to, just to get that file so we can find that file. And I named it a variable. This is just like naming, in the old VBA, I did use basic, not Visual Basic, just basic. It used to have A1. You said A1 equals 100. This is saying a variable equals this string. Okay, that's a string. And then you can print it out. And when you print it out, you notice I put a hash. That means it's ignored. That's a comment. In Fortran, it was a C. In VBA, it's a single, inverted comma thing. So I could stop it here if I wanted to. Okay, and then after that, I want to get an output file, and this output file completely drove me crazy. This is the name of the file, and I put where the file is, and then I tried to use this method that one video told me to use instead of just having it defined like this. I'm going to leave it here. I said, okay, well, this works, and I stopped. Okay, and that's the kind of beginning of the whole thing. And I suppose what we could do is I'm going to go to this Visual Studio, and then it's like just like kind of other things, I'm going to open a file, and this file I put into Python code, but I suppose I could now go and put this into where is my I guess it goes into this. I'm sorry about this. I go to this one, and I go to Sandbox, and it's got all the Excel stuff, and it's got all the other stuff here. And just blah, 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 blah. Let's go to one of the last things I did. Can I put the date modified here? We're on the 17th of April, and I'm going to get all my stocks. Okay. Did you want to remember my decision? Yeah, come on, I can open this one. Okay, and then let's do this. I don't know if you can press exit. I think maybe I can. So this time we put the sheet name, or this is really no, I'm sorry, here's the workbook name, here's the path name, and again, I got it all wrong. And then I'm going to stop this. What happens if I press exit? Okay, exit was an option. Let's see if it just exits. And what I can do is press run. And then I don't want to use this debugger. These debuggers always bug out. They bug. That wasn't very funny. Okay, they bug me. Okay, and then you run it down here. And what's going on? Why is this? It says stock output, press any key to continue. So we put that the file is where's output file. That's the output file. It's named sandbox that. And it put the 2 slashes in. I got all worried about that it had 2 slashes instead of 1 slash. And then it's okay. And let's see if it says, no, the exit didn't work. So now it's going and reading all the data, and I guess I have to explain that to you. See what I guess I'm kind of I'm thinking about, oh, should I go and edit this stuff out? And I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to edit this out. Okay, it's getting all of the tickers that I put in, a whole bunch of tickers. Okay, and those tickers came from Excel. I'm thinking about what I should say, and I think I'm going to just pause for a minute. That exit didn't work. I'll take that out. And that's how I experiment. And it wasted a lot of time. Okay. And then you can see I tried different output files and all that, but I got this to work. Okay. And then after that, after we define the output file, okay, then we can say, where do we want to get the inputs from? And you can define a sheet name instead of a file name. And this sheet name where I'm getting the data is this thing called, let me get the data in here. So if I go down here, this is the output file. We'll talk about this. This is the input file, but I don't want V1. I just want this one. What? Yesterday? Where did I just do it today? Just a minute. So this is a file called Stock and Economic Analysis. It's in that sandbox file, and I'm gonna, of course, give you this file. Now I've got to warn you that when you would want to run this file, you'd have to have Python installed. I can't, Excel has this thing where you can put Python in Excel, and they're all proud of it. And they'll say, oh, you can put Python in Excel. You need that .py. You need to run a program in Python. And basically what you need to do is, this is a VBA program right now, and I've shown you this in another sheet, so I don't have to go through it too much, but you define an object shell. I don't know what the hell that means, but what you do is you somewhere after you have to do a little bit of upfront work, okay? And then I went crazy and put the Python path, and this Python path I put in was, okay, I had stopped the video and restarted it, okay, and whatever. I'm got some ridiculous stuff happening in my house. The why you don't give a shit about any of that. Here's what you do care about. This is we're in the whatever this. I'm sorry if I'm going a little backwards and forwards. We're in the visual code. Is that what it's called? It's something like that. Okay, what is it called? This thing. We're in this thing, and okay, and I can't even. They don't even tell you what it's called, really. Okay, visual code editor or something like that. What? Where I left off. I'm sorry, I'm getting back here. Where I left off is to go here and say, look, at the very end, we have to make a path. We have to go and change the directory here. We have to change the directory. And this thing called base path is where the file is located. Now I defined the base path in the Excel file. I need to go back to the Excel file, and I need to press Control. Oops. Cancel. Let's cancel. Oh, shit. Okay, I just accidentally deleted the. No, I didn't. I didn't do anything. Okay. I was trying to press Control and F3, and I was looking for the base path. Okay, that's where we hold the. Excuse me. Shit. Oh, God. One more time. One more time. Where is the one? Maybe. Ah, God damn it. Python path. Okay, good. I got the word wrong. Okay. And this is in read stocks D44. So let's go there. And that's where I put. Now, it might be the case, well, it will be the case, that I think I'm going to give you all the files in that sandbox file. So D44, I'll just have to go down here and we'll change the Python path to just sandbox. Okay? And so what will happen, what what the VBA will do, okay, let's go back to our Yahoo index, okay. What the VBA will do here, when you click on this one, it will, okay, it will do some stuff at the beginning. It will go into the file, remove all the old file names, and work through the what's it doing here? Sorry about this. Shit, I'm making a shitty start of the video and I don't want to stop it right now. Okay, it's here. It's defining this, it's opening the file, it's deleting all the sheets. And then all of this crap here, and I made a mess of this a little bit, but I left these little message box things because that's how I debug. And then I can, if I'm having a problem, I can just take that little quote away, but it'll also say what this is. And right here it says Python path is base path. So let's go to sandbox and then put a slash after the word sandbox, and then run that. Then put that as a variable, just like we did in Python a minute ago. And then down here, we're going to change the directory and go to this base path. This is a big deal. You remember that Python wouldn't work except where the .py code that you put in Python was located. That's why I was bitching just now about the Excel being so proud of you can do some Python in it. And now I've got to say something. And oh no, I'm gonna first. So we're gonna change the path and run this. So it's as if we go to our friend old DOS. We go back to the first one. We say sandbox. Oh, you should learn how to do this. And then you put Python. And then we put this thing called Yahoo. Okay, it's called Yahoo indices.yahooindices.py. That's what the VBA is doing. Okay, and then I'll run that from, so we have to be in this directory, and then I'm running the Python file, and it says, oops, that wasn't the right one because the actual right one, but it was a different one. It actually worked. This says stock indices M, and it was index tickers PY. So, and that was defined, by the way, that was defined. So good, I'm making all these mistakes, and that's the way you can, this is my whole theme, is that, oh shit, that's how you can learn, instead of by having somebody just do it automatically. Oh, it all works so fast. So we're going to run this file, index tickers, and I almost don't have to do it. I'm going up, down, so this, I wanted this one up here. Luckily we have it, index tickers M. That was defined in the Excel. Okay, and we just read it into the program, and then we put .py. And did I? No, I wanted the M. The M stands for monthly, but actually it's going to be more flexible, as you see. So now I just put that in, and that's exactly what the Excel will do, and then it will, I hope, run. Okay, and that's when it says, oh, okay, that there's the output file, and then it says, I put the sheet name in, and I said, let's go to this sheet name and find that we have 17 tickers. Okay, and then I have never, I can't press escape here. I'm just going to go, and then it's getting all the stuff, and this is going to take a while, and I've done this before. So okay, so it just finished running, and what it did, it went to Yahoo, it put a bunch of these files in Yahoo, and I'm going to go and just proceed a little bit with explaining the little parts of Python and where I kept on going wrong. So here's a little bit of the Python code we discussed. And then the first problem, another problem I had, one of the many, many, many problems I had, was making sure that I could get the right cell reference in Excel. And you say, oh, that's easy. Now, I just was with my son and watching my whatever. You don't care about my stupid personal life, but he said, Python is so much better than any other language because you can make it count. I said Python was like any language. When you spell something wrong, it blows up. When you don't get the syntax right, it blows up. You have to learn these little techniques like making a do loop differently. No, you can do anything. That's wrong. But I don't. Fine, maybe he's right. Maybe I'm the one who's all wrong. Okay, so let's see how we're going to get this thing out of Python. Now, I just have to re-emphasize something. When I watch these videos on Python, I'm emotional about this. They said, oh, look at what you can do. You can get some data from Excel, put this PY thing just in Excel. Oh, how cool that is. And then you can do things like getting a Gantt chart. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Or when you get the data from Excel, it gives you the average right away. Who gives a shit? Really? Who gives a shit about that? I care about what I cannot do the way I used to do it. I care about getting the data from Yahoo Finance. That is cool. And I also care, which I'm going to do later. I have a whole nother way to do, the financial ratios, put the stock prices, look at the market to book ratio, find the implied cost of capital from that. And for that, you have to go to and scrape some data, why don't they just call it hacking data? We have to go and be able to press, I want the balance sheet. Now, you can get all this balance sheet and all that stuff from Yahoo Finance, but it's only 5 years. And if you pay like a little bit extra, you can get this balance sheet since the 1980s and get some real trends. Fascinating. And then you can combine that with all this long-term stock price data, and that's really valuable. So to re-emphasize this Python, if you do loops a little different way, or you can use this thing called pandas and get little graphs and all that. What? Who gives a crap? Getting the data and doing something that you couldn't do otherwise. That's why we need to get it. Okay, so how do we get the data from Excel? So you're able to read an Excel file. That was my big problem, and I tried to explain it, and I tried to show you the files. And then how do we find something in K4? Okay, and the way you find it in K4, again, I made all these mistakes, is where is it here? Oh, shit, did I not put it here? Yes, it's this I location. So This is what we do first is we read the Excel and we find the sheet name we want in the Excel. Now, it took me a whole lot of time to get this right. Notice this PD, I can't go up here. This PD is for this library. You go to the library book and you find this thing called pandas. Why they named it that, I don't know. Maybe it's some other thing in Monty Python, but I never saw that. And that's you rename this library PD, and part of this library book is something called uh, 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 it's called Read Excel. So that's good that Panda has this Read Excel, and you define the name of the sheet. The name of the sheet is that with the slashes. You don't have a header. I don't. You have to put that in. That must have taken me hours. And then you can put sheet name, and you can define sheet name here as in this case, I put Yahoo Stocks. So let's go to the Yahoo Stocks sheet name. And this is, so it goes here. And then I want to get the number of tickers we have. Now, the best thing to do, and I'm sure you can do this, but I just got a little bit impatient. This I defined as a range name, and what you'd really like to do is define it as a range name. So if you inserted, just like when you're doing VBA, all of the things you insert into VBA should be range names. I hate range names fundamentally, but for VBA, they're absolutely essential, because then if you insert a column, insert a row, it won't change. For now, I just used it badly without inserting a row or a column. So in this case, we have row 6 and column 4. Okay, and then let's go back to this. So maybe Jose will say, oh, what are you doing on back and forth? I don't. If you read here, I put row number 6 and column number 4. Okay, and I said I want to go to this workbook data, which is defined here. You know how long? Okay, whatever. You know, people who go through this stuff with Python, blah, 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 you just put this here, you just put this here. So this is defined as this is from the library. You define it here. And then you put this I location. I forgot how I looked this up. Some nice person explained this I location. And then you put the row number, but everything in Python starts with zeros. So row number, if we want the row number of 6 in Excel, we have to put 5. If we want the column number 4, we got to put 3. So I just did it like that. And then eventually, if we can make this a range name, hopefully, or whatever. But right now, I just kind of hard coded it. Okay. And so that's how you get single points of data. And that was really good because, and okay, I think you will believe me that, and by the way, this is something called, if we look up here in the sandbox, okay, I think I'm going to open this file. There's Python shell, okay? So this is where I kind of experimented with things, and oops, up, there's a circular reference. Oh my gosh, what did I do here? Oh shit, I better close this file. Let's go and see if we can find this circular reference. Where? Oh, just a minute. Oh, here we go. Circular references. Where is it? Oh, that's the old method. Screw that method. I don't know what I did here. Okay, did I get rid of it? So go to formulas. There we go. No more circular references. Good. Get rid of that one. Okay, so I was messing around with Python and trying to even clip from different sources, and here I was trying to read the tickers and then read all of these in and get rows and columns. And in this case, I put the very first sheet. I couldn't get it to work with the sheet. So I put this just address and made sure that we were reading this this address. Okay, I don't know if that was worth opening. You can try stuff like that. Okay. Oh, I'm losing my passion here for a minute. Okay, because I'm going back to thinking, oh God. Okay. Now, then what we want to do is once we have this thing, it gives us, okay, I'm going to go back to this one. It gives us 52 tickers. We want to go around all of these different 52 tickers. Okay, I used a count A or something. We want to go around these 52 tickers. For each 52 ticker, then we want to stick we want to go and get the, excuse me, I think I didn't get this. I gotta go and do it. I'm not gonna do it right now. We're gonna get all the data from finance.yahoo.com. I'm repeating myself. Sorry, I hate when I repeat myself like this. Okay, and because you're probably turning off the video, I don't want you to turn off the video. Oh no. Whatever. Okay, I can't even look at this stuff in YouTube about how many people watch the video. It's just depressing for me. Okay, so that's what we're going to go around, and we need to make a loop. We got the 52 in here, and now I need to get these tickers into the Python. And nobody told me how to do this, really. Well, I had to go to one place, and that's what I'm trying to do, is let you do this particular case study or this, because I find this really useful. We're going to put all those tickers in and make those separate sheets. Okay, and then, so you have to make a loop. Okay, and when I made an old-fashioned loop, I used to go for I equals 1 to 52. For in VBA, for I equals 1, space TO, space 52, or that can be a cell reference, of course, or a range name even. Okay, and then down there you put next somewhere at the end, so you know when the thing is going through the loop. Whew. Okay, but that's not the way Python works. The way Python works is you can't do for I equals 1 to 52. You have to do this for in. It's just a loop. Okay, it's got a little different syntax. And so the rows in the loop I got from the IoT thing, ILOC thing. Okay, that's the total rows. I got that. So then I put the rows in the loop. But first I put -1 in here in another video. It took me like ridiculous amounts of time to fix that. I thought it had to be one less, but it doesn't. And what you do is, so you put I, just like for I equals 1 to 52. Instead, you put in range and you put rows in loop. And for some reason, my son said, oh, that's so much better than VBA. What? It's what? Just a loop. Okay, and that's any of these languages from Fortran on had loops. Okay, but this time you put a little semicolon there. Of course, I didn't do that right, so I put a little comment that says you got to remember to do that. And then we put we count. I'm going to count like I don't know why I really need this. This is the row count. And it's some start row, which is the first row up here. That's row 10 in the Excel, and the column number was 4. So this starts at 10 because I is equal to 0 first, I think. That's why I put the -1 and got a little confused. And then I print out that you're reading the ticker, and you might have seen that when I did this, and I put a string here. Of course, I got that wrong at first. It didn't. When you put a plus in VBA, you'd put an and sign. Okay, we put a plus, and you got to go and Google it, and it goes to some AI thing or something. And then it says ticker is, again, this I location, row count, -1. We always have to put a -1, column, -1. So that's the column number of the ticker. And then we get the ticker number, and I say, oh, yes, let's print this out to show you we're getting the ticker number. Now, I hope what you would do is copy this code And there are a couple of ways to copy it. One is I just put it somewhere down here. I put these when they're like this, there's code, and I put the whole code in somewhere down here. I might have to redo it because I just made a couple of mistakes since I put it in. And then somebody, luckily, some man from Holland explained how this getting the data from Yahoo is. And you put this in, you say, okay, we want to download this ticker number, and then we're going to get this adjusted close price, and then we're going to print it out. That's the next section. So the first is getting the loop right. Of course, I didn't do that right. And then getting the Yahoo correct. Okay, and this man who I think this is the video. Okay, he explained how to do this. I hope this is. Why does it say Google search? I don't know. Okay, excuse me, but okay. And then here is the code, so you can copy this code. Now, when you copy this code, Max is getting, I want to get as much data as possible. So I showed you in the first video, the first part of this video, where you put the start date of the series, and you can go backwards and forwards and make all your graphs very flexible. And he explained that you put this auto adjust equals false, and then you put an interval and this time period. That could be here. And I think I might do this. It could be 1 month, or I could change the periodicity. Is that a noun or a verb? Change a noun, I guess. And I'm going to put D for daily. Then we can get the stock prices day by day by day. Okay, so you're going to put this variable, which is up here in line 444. Okay, now it's 1D. And if you put 1D into the okay, if you put 1D up here into the interval, and I don't know where, if I showed you just up here, where did I put get the time period code? I think I'm going to have to show you that somewhere else. Okay, that's just the same way we got the 52, the number 52. You can get 1 month and all that. So we're going to put 1 day, and then it's going to get this day by day by day. You used to have to put this in the URL. Okay, and then you do this one, and then you do this. I don't know why. This is a data frame. It's YF download, and you just, I don't know, got to copy somebody else's. Whatever. It's just getting the stuff from the library. It's really good. So then we put this, and I just copied this, and it worked. Okay, good. Now there are ways to get the financial statements as well, but that's going to be a whole nother subject, and I haven't even started on that one yet because, like I said, I want to go back to the 1980s, and I want to show you again. This is what I want to do. I don't want to be some kind of silly show off and say, oh, well, maybe you can copy this and say on your resume, I can do Python or something like that, whatever. Okay, and then you have to define this data frame. And again, here's the next subject. I have no idea what a data frame really is. It was a pain. I just want data. I want rows and columns like Excel, whatever. I want a two-dimensional array in VBA, a one-dimensional array. No, we have to do something called a data frame. And then we can write out this data frame. So you've got to define this thing called a data frame up here. And then you can, once you define this, you take this uh, why you have to define it like this. It's PD, remember, it's Panda data frame, and then you can get the adjusted close, you can get the open, you can get financial statements. What this thing does is it gives you this adjusted close as a basically a time series variable, which means there are a bunch of rows and dates. Okay? Still don't. Oh my God, I don't want to hear comments. Oh, yeah, data frame so obvious. Let's talk really fancy shit about that. No, okay. Then finally, you write this out to an output file. This output file I named, I named it as, here, I'll look in our sandbox. Oh, come on. Okay, I named it as stock output. So we're going to just put all of this stuff in a different file. I don't want to put it in the same file because I've got all the graphs and all that stuff, okay? And it looks like in this file I've got some stuff in it. And what happens is we get, oh, this has got the indices still. And if I put this wide, that thing that's, oops, a little wider, okay. The straight times index went back here. This thing went from 1985. Now, this is really bizarre. If you get the S&P 500, which is not a great tool because it doesn't really reflect the dividends. I just don't understand why they don't put the dividends in there. Okay. Because this Ibbotson, this famous, oh, this guy, you know, Pharma, he got the Nobel Prize and everybody was worshiping him. I've so changed my mind about these people, and now he's got some. He talks about getting. He loves his billionaire friends and all this. Some man named Booth, I guess, who made, you know. Oh God, am I going to be pissing off some people now? But he's got, oh, the greatest thing about University of Chicago was this CRISP database where basically this Ibbotson guy used it, and they computed the market risk premiums from this, and they did all these studies, and basically what they did, their big thing was they got a whole bunch of stock price data just like we're getting in minutes, and then they included the dividends and made this adjusted close really stuff, and then they could just do all these studies with the stock prices. That's what they did, but now we can do it in minutes by using finance.yahoo, and I think that's really cool. Okay, so whatever. Uh, Now we've got all of this, okay, and now we're finished. Now we just run the file, okay, and we run it. I have kind of gone through this already. This was where we run it with the script. Now again, you can copy all of these things where it's like this, and I've got the whole program here down here. So you can copy this whole thing if you want and just make it, you know, into put it in this. This is the VBA code. You can just copy it and put it in yourself. But I really want you to kind of understand what it's doing. Okay, and when we get all of this stuff, oh yeah, here's the whole kind of program. No, this is a simpler one. This is one that just gets a few of the tickers. But you would copy this, and you would, well, we can do it, I guess. We take all of this stuff here. Okay, just take, oops, okay. I don't know what I'm not going to run this because I'm terrified. We go here and then we go, just play with this. You put new file. I'm really bad at this, and we're going to make it a Python file. I think that was defined before. It might not have been. And then we just copy this, and so that's basically what you're going to do. This is one where I just was starting to read and write and all that stuff. Okay, I'm not going to save this. Instead, I'm going to open the let's open the stock tickers again. Okay, so I've got to copy this. This one worked. Okay. It doesn't look very long, and all the green stuff is just a waste. There's just a few different commands, but and I could have been like those other people. Well, that would have been a fraud if I was, and say, "Oh, just type this here, just type this here. Oh, it all works. Blah 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 blah. It all works." Oh no, it's frustrating as hell to get it right, but then it's rewarding. Oh my God, the ecstasy! Oh, when it actually works after is why I wanted to make this video. Obviously, okay, I wanted to show you. I gotta show everybody that it really can work. Okay, and then. Now, what I did with this one is I don't have to repeat this because I said this in a different thing. I well, I am going to say it, so I'm just contradicting myself. So we get all of these tickers, and then we get all of this Fred data. But this Fred data, you right click on these things, go to assign macro, go to edit, and you can see on this Fred data, it's not with VBA. Instead, we got this little API code and we can read it all directly in, and we don't have to go back and forth. And it's so wonderful to just do it like that. So I'm going to then be able to get all of these things, and you just go to Fred and get the stuff. And this thing that this is the EU natural gas. And I do some things where I guess for these I just got the data. I just kind of screwed it up. I don't care. I'll save it. Okay, because we can then do all sorts of commodity price analysis, put it in real terms, divide it out, and for that everything's really on this summary page now. This summary page has no data in it right now, but you can I hopefully made it reasonably okay to look at and allow you to mess around with this. It's got a lot of indirect, and then lookup. You put indirect together with the lookup. It is such a powerful kind of thing to do. And look at me, okay? Oh, and then we go to the step-by-step process. And now when we do this, I have got to just finish some of this. So step one, this is if you just want to take this file and you don't want to really, you can use it and change the Python around if you want, of course, and everything else. But if you just want to run it and get updated data for one day. So again, what we would do if we want to get this data day by day, we press OK. So delete all the old stuff and then read this stuff in. And I haven't even tried the one day, but the stock market has been going down by thousands and all that, and up by thousands. So here we're running it, and then it's getting this, and look, it gets it all the way back to 1927, and then this is the DAX, and this is the Milan, and this is the FTSE. Okay, and then when we make our graphs, we can look at them day by day. I'm going to not have you watch this. Okay, got all the data, I hope. Okay, and then this was something I should actually have taken out, but notice that if you notice this from 1987, it's going one day by one day by one day. Okay, or no, is it? Okay, this thing has got to be taken out. That was when I was testing it. I've got one of these little message boxes in there, but that wasn't that bad. So then let's just look and see what happened. If we look at the S&P 500, the 3rd of January, 1928. That's what the S&P was. And then we go to the 16th of April, and then we can kind of see, oh, let's see what we do if we just take some of this and alternate F1. Oh, that didn't work very well because of the whatever, the skips of the weekend. But okay, and these are all now day by day instead of month by month. And then we go through, I'm sorry about taking you through this, and just 1 minute, I'm going to have to go back and look at some of this. I think I'm going to leave it up. I'm going to leave it and come back to it. I'm going to put a really good copy on internet. So we need to get that, we need to install Python. We need to make a directory. We could do it like with the run thing, or we can do it with the regular thing. So I made the sandbox directory, and that's where we're going to put all the files. And then you can download this file, but then is this where I put all the files you can download? You put the file of the Python code for retrieving the tickers, okay? And I put a whole bunch of different Python code. I think I might have repeated a couple of things here. I put some VBA code, and you don't really want this one. That's kind of out of order. And then we run the Python and get it. Okay, so that's it. That's it. I find this really exciting, and I'm going to do one more part of this where we go and we get this financial statement data. But I think that's enough of this video for today.